Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We won't say welcome to what, a new year. Alright. Alhamdulillah, Allah Azza wa Jalla has given us the opportunity to sit and to learn His deen. Alright. Even what in Islam also, what the concept, there's no concept of a new year. Right? At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and before that, a year was what? From one event to another event. Right? 1 year after Badr, 1 year after Uhud, 1 year, or 2 years, 3 years from the year of the elephant, like that. Because we know that the Hijri calendar was introduced at the Khilafah Umar radiallahu anhu. That came after what? The demise of the Prophet ﷺ, after the demise of what? Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Right? So it's not like, okay, we could celebrate what? The new Islamic year, but not the this year, you know? I mean, we as Muslims, every moment in our lives, it counts, right? Sometimes, okay, many people, they have what? New Year resolution. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, if something is good, something has rewards in it, do not procrastinate, right? Even what if a person mentioned, you know what? When Ramadan comes, I would start performing my salah. No, start performing now. Start doing good deeds now. Right? Even to wait for Islamic what? Event. For Hajj, inshallah, would change my life. For Ramadan, I would change my... No. Umar radiallahu anhu, Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, he mentioned that if Allah Azza wa Jal give you life in the morning, then do not wait to do a good deed in the evening. Do it in the morning. If you have life in the evening, do not wait what? For the next day to do that good deed. Alright? So, Allah Azza wa Jal has given us the opportunity to sit and to listen to His deen, talks regarding His deen. And this is a great ni'mah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And inshallah, this term our classes would run straight until Ramadan. Just before Ramadan we'll close off. Right? This year, inshallah, we hope to cover Janazah, which we'll start today. Janazah, what we have remaining, we have Zakat to cover, and coming closer, we do the laws pertaining to Salah, and not Salah but fasting, i'tikaf. We covered Jumu'ah before, so we do something probably in Salatul Eid, and that will take us to the end of this term, inshallah, before Ramadan. And as we always mention, this our classes we participate. It's not a bayan, you get bayan on a Friday, or your monthly lecture, you get bayan there. Right? This is a class that we participate, we interact, we ask questions, or whatever has been mentioned, it is pertaining to us, right? So if you need any clarifications or any questions, we're not sure about something, you can ask, inshallah. Right? So today's topic, inshallah, Janazah, and we're going, inshallah, more to the rules, the laws, the law aspect. Right? As in every topic, there's what? An introduction. Janazah, death. Allah Azza wa Jal, He mentions in the Quran, Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut, that every soul shall taste death. Death is something inevitable. It's not something that, okay, we try to, or we could avoid. No, it's something that we prepare for. It's something that every single person has to meet, and every single person has to prepare for. Allah Azza wa Jal, He mentions, وَمَا جَعَلْنَا لِبَشَرٍ مِّن قَبْلِكَ الْخُلْدِ. Allah Azza wa Jal, He mentions the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, we haven't given what? Eternity or immortality to any human being before you. أَفَإِن مِتَّ فَهُمُ الْخَالِدُونَ. Is it that what? You would die and they would live? They would live on? No. كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Every soul will taste of death. A poet, he mentions, لَوْ كَانَتِ الدُّنْيَا تَدُومُ لِأَهْلِهَا لَكَانَ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ حَيًّا بَاقِيًا. If it is that the dunya, one person in the dunya would keep alive, that honor would be given to what? Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But the sunnah of Allah Azza wa Jalla is that what? We have to die. And this is the sunnah and the method of Allah Azza wa Jalla. وَلَن تَجِدَ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَبْدِيلًا. And the sunnah of Allah Azza wa Jalla will never change. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is what? He is what? Al-Khaliq. He is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is what? The first without a beginning and the last without an ending. Thus Allah Azza wa Jal, He is what? Eternal and everlasting. Every single thing beside Allah Azza wa Jal has a beginning. Whatever has a beginning has an end. Whatever has a beginning has a stipulated time. And we as human beings on the face of the earth, we have a stipulated time. We have a stipulated time. And the only purpose Allah Azza wa Jalla has sent us in this earth is to prepare for that stipulated time. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He mentions what? The creation of that human being in the womb of the mother. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He mentions what? In details the creation of that human being, from a drop of sperm to a clot of blood, to what? That mudghah, that lump of flesh, then to bones. Then Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned He clothed the bones. And He mentioned ثُمَّ أَنشَأْنَاهُ خَلْقًا آخَرَ. And from that what? Drop of sperm, Allah Azza wa Jal made that what? Made that into what? A human being, a new creation. فَتَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنُ الْخَالِقِينَ. Then Allah Azza wa Jal immediately after that, what He mentions, a person would live what in this world for 60, 70, 80, 90, khalas, 100 years then. 100 years. Nabi alayhi salam, he mentioned what? A'maru ummati, the age of my ummah, the lifespan of my ummah, ma bayna sittina wa sab'ina sana, between 60 to 70 years. So a person what? He would spend 60 70 years on the face of the earth, more than that. And we know how much thing a person can accomplish, how much thing a person can do. But Allah Azza wa Jal, after He mentions the creation of human being, He mentions ثُمَّ إِنَّكُمْ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ لَمَيِّتُونَ. And after this, then you would die. After this, you would die. Even what, khalas, that person what on the face of the earth, he has what? His childhood, adolescent, teenager, youth, this, that, and all these things a person would do. He would work, he would get married, Allah Azza wa Jal mentions after the creation of human being, He mentioned ثُمَّ إِنَّكُمْ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ لَمَيِّتُونَ. After that you would die. Allah Azza wa Jal is reminding us that listen, whatever you're going to do on the face of the earth, just remember that you're going to die. This is the most important thing. So what in our family life, our business life, our social life, yes, we live it, but live it in a way that is pleasing to Allah Azza wa Jal, so that what? When we die and return to Allah Azza wa Jal, we can give an account of our life. That Allah Azza wa Jal, He is pleased with what? Every moment of our life spent on the face of the earth. Then Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned, ثُمَّ إِنَّكُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ لَتُبْعَثُونَ. And after you die, you will be what? Resurrected. When a person what? He understands that he'll be resurrected. Why he'll be resurrected? For questioning how that person spent his time on the face of the earth. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentions the foot of the son of Adam, or the feet of the son of Adam, would not be able to move the slightest on the day of judgment, hatta yus'al an arba'a, until he is asked 4 questions. And as we mentioned, 60, 70 years this man spent on the face of the earth, 80, 90 years, and only 4 questions he's going to be asked. But these what? 4 questions are what? Are very important questions. It is not that only 4 questions he will be asked, but these are the 4 questions he will be asked. The first 4 questions he will be asked, 2 of it is pertaining to what? The life of that person, how he spent his life. The second question, how he spent his youth. And also how did that person earn his money and how he spent his money. So everything is what? Accounted for. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has given us life. Yes, alhamdulillah. And the purpose of this life is to prepare for the inevitable, which is death. So may Allah Azza wa Jal give us what? The tawfiq to spend our lives in a manner pleasing to Him. So when we die, Allah Azza wa Jal, He will be pleased with us. So we start, inshallah. In this topic, there are many places you can start from. Death, janazah, you can start from what? Visiting the sick. Or you can start from, okay, preparing a will. Here we'll start from what? When a person is what? In the verge of dying. Alright? The verge of dying. Understand the laws of Allah Azza wa Jalla, the laws of the Sharia is encompassive. Every aspect of human life it covers. A person before he's even born, there are laws pertaining, connected to him. His entire stay on the face of the earth, there's laws pertaining to that. That person died, khalas, and left this world, there are still laws, the laws of Allah Azza wa Jal. So when a person is what? Dying, understand? When a person is dying, what we do? But when a person is dying, how we know a person is dying? Listen, if you see a person dying, what you'll do? Hey, say La ilaha illallah. Yes, we understand this, but listen, when a person is dying, you should help that person. It's like, okay, we know that he's going to dead. No. We see a person what? Wounded, injured, but he looking like he's going to dead, you know. All you come read Yasin for this person. No. We try to what? Assist that person. That is in the hands of Allah Azza wa Jal, whether we help or not. Right? That is in the hands of Allah Azza wa Jal. Many a times what? There are two conditions we meet. We can meet a person what? In a dying condition until what? He dies. But most of the time we meet a person when he's already dead. When he's already dead. But if it happens that, okay, we meet a person while he is dying in his khalas, and there are signs of what? Death that appears on a person, and it's something that, listen, if we're not accustomed to, then what? We can leave out that part. But normally what? The signs of death, you see that what? The nose of that person what? Becomes twisted, the temples what? Sunk in, the body becomes what? Stiff, that person what? Starts what? Short breath, alright? And like that, but these are the signs where there's a great possibility that what? That person, he could what? Survive that. It doesn't mean that, okay, we are seeing the signs over here and we leave that person where we read the signs of death and we can't help, we can't stop that, so we just leave him unattended. No, right? I mean, it's not something that, okay, we, you know, khalas, are versed in, right? Many a times you see, we go to visit people, you know what? He will die by tomorrow, right? He's not eating, he's not how he looking, he's not responding, right? And then afterwards you go tomorrow and this person talking and, you know, he eating and everything, right? So it doesn't mean that, okay, khalas, if the signs that are inevitable, khalas, 100% yani bil yaqeen that he's going to die, right? So when a person, just say, we see that this person is okay, he's passing away, he's going to die, right? Or say the person already died. You know, sometimes when we are alive, there are certain people, you know what, we don't want that person, we don't invite that person to our house, right? That person will come around our house. And sometimes when we die like the first man inside the house. And you can't stop that. Right? The whole community inside the house. The whole neighborhood inside the house. Right? So it's something like khalas, it normally happens. Right? But to be a little considerate, okay, if a person is dying, a person just passed away, right? Leave that space for what? The immediate family. Right? You just stand up and watching. You occupying space. And you have the immediate family what? You know, khalas, under what? You have them under very what? Inconveniencing them. Right? I mean, if you're making the arrangements, calling the funeral home or contacting the doctor, the police, the DMO, these things, okay, actively doing that, but you just standing there and watching. You can move. Khalas, leave that space for what? Leave that space for the family. Yes, you could say, but listen, they can't do anything anymore. We understand that, but that is a sensitive, and a dedicated moment, a sensitive situation. Khalas, leave that. Give space for what? The family members, the close family members. Alright? And sometimes, listen, and do what we can do to aid the family, instead of making it difficult for the family. Alright? Whatever we can do to aid the family, this is what we do. When a person is passing away, when a person dies, alright, when a person is passing away, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentions, Al-malaika la tadkhulu baytan fihi sura wala kalb wala junub. This is general. Nabi alayhi salam mentions that the angels of mercy does not enter that house in which there is piteous. The angels of mercy, the angel of death, not what stop the angel of death, but the angels of mercy would not enter that house. Whether this be a person living or dead, doesn't matter. The angel of mercy does not enter that house in which there are piteous. Piteous of what? Animate things, human beings, animals. The angels would never enter that house, the angels of mercy. The angels of mercy would never enter that house in which there are dogs. Right? So, the ulama, they mention that, listen, a person is about to die, you clear that room of what? Things that are considered violations of the Sharia. Alright? We want that khalas, that was the angels of mercy fill that room. What benefit we are to the deceased if what? If we occupy the khalas, the deceased will be benefited if what? If he is accompanied by the angel of mercy, the angels of rahman, mercy. Right? But Nabi alayhi salam, he mentioned, listen, Kama ta'ishun tamutun. Just like how you live, you will die. Nobody knows when they're going to die to say, okay, when I die, when I'm dying, to remove all these things. No, khalat. This is how a person, he lives his life. Right? This is how he lives his life, and this is how it should be what? Throughout. So when a person is about to die or whatever, we understand, it's not that, okay, we want the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal at the time of death only. No, we want the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal throughout. Understand the hadith? When the Prophet ﷺ, he was awaiting revelation, wahi from Jibreel ﷺ. And what happened? A dog entered the house of the Prophet ﷺ and hid in a corner. The Prophet ﷺ was unaware of that. But despite him being unaware of that, Jibreel ﷺ did not enter. So these are lessons for you and I. And Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, this is khalas. Many houses we see that dogs, right? Dogs are permissible if it is used for what the Sharia has allowed. And we all know, okay, what the Sharia allows. If the dog is for security, to help wrongs up the sheep, we don't have that, right? To help aid a blind person, and these aspects, right? You could use, but that dog just for what? To pet and to bathe and to hug up and to play, right? Nabi alayhi salam, he mentioned, Man iqtana kalban, that person who has that dog, just keeps a dog without a valid shari'i reason, yanqusu min ajrihi kulla yawmin qirat. Every single day, his rewards to the extent of what a qirat would be taken away from him. And he was asked, what is a qirat? One qirat is what? Rewards to the extent of Mount Uhud. Rewards to the extent of Mount Uhud. So if that person, listen, how much action and good deeds you have to do to get all that amount of rewards. You have to be doing what? Qiyamul Layl every single night, probably every day do a khatam, and you do sadaqah every single day, and every single good deed you have to do that what? Probably 24 hours to get all that reward. But a person, he keeps a dog, and this is what happens. So some people, they have what? Minus, right? Minus what? Rewards. You know, and the saying is what? Listen, all the rewards gone where? It gone to the dogs. All the rewards gone to the dogs. Subhanallah. Alright? And this is something that we need to understand. Right? This is something that we need to understand. Yes, we do good deeds and actions. That is one. Right? But that is very important, and equally important is to protect our good deeds and actions. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned, Man ja'a bil hasana. Yes, man amila hasana. A person does a good deed, very good. But that person what? Who comes with that good deed on the day of judgment. So that person, after doing that good deed, he needs to what? Protect the reward that he got from that good deed. So anyhow, we want that the angels of what? Mercy enter that house. Alright, the angels of mercy enter that house. The dog, I mean the dog was just a digression, but important still. A haunting is there's a valid reason. No, I'm saying, listen, understand, you treat the dog good, right? If you hug up the dog, you hug up the dog, right? But yet the dog is for hunting purposes, right? So use it for hunting, so it doesn't mean that you use it for hunting, and time to bait it, you have a long stick with that water in here and you wash it like that. No, right? But know that what? Yes, the saliva, everything from that is what? Najis. Just like you go to see about what? The cattle, the sheep, right? Whatever. Right, so you go and see about it, and if you want to hug it up, you can hug it up too. But if you want to urinate on your clothes, okay, it want to defecate on, khalas, you clean yourself. Alright? So once it's for a valid reason, hunting, rousing up the animal, for what? For security purposes, like that. That is their space. Understand, when we say a house is actually a room. Right? When we say a house, every room is considered to be what? A separate entity. Right? So an apartment building, a person what? He has what? The neighbor has a dog. That connected to him. Right? So even though you share one wall, or behind the wall is him and after is you. Right? This is your space. This is your bait. That is separate from that. Janazah, right? Leave what you don't know.
I can't remember if I read it or heard it somewhere that the story of Pharaoh, when he was about to die, then he believed in the signs of Allah, then he wanted to accept Islam. But he was told that it's too late now. Is it that the mercy and forgiveness of Allah stops actually before death, or is it until the moment of death, or are there any narrations about it?
Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentions the question, khalas, everybody understand the question. The question is that what? Fir'aun, he recited what? He attested to what? Iman and faith and belief in Allah at the time of his death. But his what? His Iman was what? Not accepted. Right? So is it that what? The mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal is khalas, he was deprived of the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal, which we know is what? Vast. Alright? The hadith is, listen, ma lam yugharghir. A person, Allah Azza wa Jal yaqbal yani tawbat al-abdi ma lam yugharghir. So long as what? The soul doesn't leave the body. Right? So long as the soul doesn't leave the body, right? That tawbah is accepted. Other narrations mention the moment that person he sees what? Malakul Maut, there's no tawbah. Right? When the sun would what? Would rise from where? The west. Khalas. No tawbah. Right? So yeah, there's a cut-off point. Right? But even what Fir'aun, understand Fir'aun. Right? If Hafiz was here, he would recite the ayah. Fir'aun, in his entire life, he didn't what? Utter what? The kalima. He did not test the what? Iman. Right? When he was dying, he could even say what? La ilaha illallah. Amantu billadhi amana bihi Banu Israel. Hey, I believe in that thing in which Banu Israel believe in. Khalas. So he didn't even proclaim what Iman. And even if he did, understand, afterwards seeing the angel of death, that is it. Right? Understand, in the Akhirah, in the next life, nobody going to be what? Disbelievers. How are you going to disbelieve in something you see in front of your eyes? How are you going to disbelieve in what? Resurrection, when khalas, resurrected. How are you going to disbelieve in what? Jannah, Jahannam. How are you going to disbelieve in Allah Azza wa Jal? How are you going to disbelieve in what? The Day of Judgment when in front of your eyes. So there will be no disbelievers on that day. Right? After death, there will be no disbelievers on that. After that. But you know what? The Iman will only be what? Of avail in this world. Right? After death, after the angel of death, after that, khalas, a person what? He believes that is what? He will be considered, he will be upon that which he died. Died without Iman, then khalas, he will be considered a disbeliever until. Right? So time too late. Right? It's not that khalas. The mercy of Allah Azza wa Jalla is what? Dayiq and restricted. No. Right? Understand? A person, right? He would know sometimes what? Listen, a person what? A higher person to work, he don't know exactly what he has to do. So they come and show him, listen, this is what you have to do. So. They give him what? His job description. Now he knows what to do. Alright? Allah Azza wa Jalla, He mentioned that person, when the angel of death comes to that person, who disbelieve in Allah Azza wa Jalla, who transgress the bounds set by Allah Azza wa Jalla, what he would say? Rabbi rji'un. Now he's saying, oh Allah, return me. Oh Allah, return me. Why? And he's mentioning, right? This is the statement of what that person, he's mentioning why he wants to return to the earth. Rabbi rji'un la'alli a'malu salihan fima tarakt. So that perhaps I would do the good deeds and actions in which I left out. He would acknowledge he left it out. He would acknowledge he neglected it. He would ask to come back specifically for that. Allah Azza wa Jalla also mentions, right? Allah Azza wa Jalla also mentions that even what in the fire of Jahannam, when they will be punished, رَبَّنَا أَخْرِجْنَا نَعْمَلْ صَالِحًا غَيْرَ الَّذِي كُنَّا نَعْمَلْ. Oh Allah, take us out. Take us out from the fire of Jahannam so that we can do what? Good deeds, type, as opposed to the deeds that we used to do. So they would know, everyone would know. But Allah Azza wa Jal, it would be said to him, it would be said to these people, أَوَلَمْ نُعَمِّرْكُمْ مَا يَتَذَكَّرُ فِيهِ مَنْ تَذَكَّرُ. Did we not give you sufficient time? Did we not give you a sufficient time on the face of the earth for a person who wanted to take heed? He could have taken heed. Right? So it's not okay, the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jalla is restricted. No, this is the sunnah of Allah Azza wa Jalla. This is the method of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Allah Azza wa Jalla, khalas, give that person what? Time and time and time. But that person didn't pay heed. Alright? That person didn't pay heed. So even though he may know in this world, Pharaoh, he may know in this world the Banu Israel, according to them, this is salvation, to believe in Allah. But at the end of the day, Allah Azza wa Jalla didn't give him the tawfiq to utter that before he died. When a person is going to die, we understand from the hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, we do what they call talqeen. Talqeen is to what? To prompt that person. Say La ilaha illallah. You don't tell him say La ilaha illallah. You say what? La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Because we know the hadith, Man kana akhiru kalamihi La ilaha illallah dakhal al-jannah. Right? But understand, that person would only say La ilaha illallah if Allah Azza wa Jal gives him the tawfiq. If Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't give that person the tawfiq, the whole room could fill with what? Shuyukh, and imams and everybody saying what? La ilaha illallah. Khalas. If Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't give that person the tawfiq, he will not say it. Right? But yes, we will be rewarded, the living, we will be rewarded for what? Fulfilling the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. When a person is dying, what? Do talqeen. Prompt him to say, La ilaha illallah. Right? And understand here, we don't tell the deceased, we don't command the deceased. Not the deceased, but the dying person, the muhtadar. We don't command the dying, hey, say. That person is between two worlds. Right? He is seeing that which we are not seeing. Right? So you might tell him, say what? Say La ilaha illallah. And he may reply and say no. But his no is not in response to your what? Your question. Right? That no, he is seeing that what we are not seeing. Right? No. But we think that a person may think that, listen, and this is the reason why Nabi Isa mentioned talqeen. You just prompt and say La ilaha illallah. Don't command. Right? Because a person, you listen to all human beings. When the man die now, you come on with chicken your partner like that. Hey, and the man say no. Are you praying janazah now? The man say no. What would that mean? He dies up. It doesn't mean that. Right? His no could mean what? Response to anything. Right? A person in pangs of what? Sakaratul maut, death, the pains of death. We don't know what that person is going through. Right? So even that person may even lose his mind. So whatever that person going through at that time of what? Dying, it is he not accountable. Don't take him to task for that. Right? He may be saying all kind of what? That man said this and he said, he's not himself. Right? Anyhow, ala kulli hal, La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. This is what we do. Nabi alayhi salatu salam, he mentions, Iqra'u Yasin ala mawtakum. Iqra'u Yasin ala mawtakum. Recite Surah Yasin upon your mawta. Here the word mawta is the plural of what? Mayyit. Mayyit is what? A deceased. So here now we have what? Two interpretations and both of them correct. One interpretation by what? A group of what? Some ulama, they mention mawtakum ma'na muhtada, that person who is dying. So that person who is dying, you can read Surah Yasin. Right? Recite Surah Yasin. And also it has a meaning of what? That person who is dead. Right? So that's why you see people when they go to the grave and they recite Surah Yasin. Alright? So both what? Permissible. Alright? But as we mentioned at the beginning, a person is dying. We don't know. We try to aid and assist that person. We see a person suffering and that, hey, come, we really ask you, he look like he is dead. No. Help and aid the person. Alright? Also, a dying person, it is said that what? It is must, khalas, is sunnah. Not that it is said. It comes in a hadith that person, not a khalas, a athar of a sahabi who mentioned that what? When I am dying, about to die, then turn me towards the Qibla. And when that was mentioned to Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he mentioned, لَقَدْ يَنِي أَصَابَ الْفِطْرَ. Khalas, that is what? That is the sunnah, that is the correct thing to do. Right? So if it's possible, right, that person what? The same way he would lie on the grave, or the sunnah method of sleeping, right? If he can be placed like that, then that is what? That is better. Right? But most of the time that is difficult. Right? That is difficult. So the second best option is that person what? He lie on his back. Right? He lie on his back. Right?
Any sign of a dying person? I just say I'm dying, I'm dying. I might be already dying. I might think he's dying. Is there any sign that he's dying?
He missed the first 10 minutes.
The reason I ask that is because of the fact there was a guy who they say was dying. All of them to read, seen the big dua, he wanted to drink, lie. Mama said yes.
Yeah, we mentioned that about the first 15 minutes of the class.
So, what signs you have that these people are?
You take the next 15 minutes? That same question we addressed at the beginning of the class. Right? So inshallah, right? You would have said. Right? We address that, right? Not every time, okay, they see the signs of a dying person mean what? He going to die, right? That is in the hands of Allah Azza wa Jal, we don't know, right? So you want to tell it, after you read Surah Yasin and this and that, and you see the man living the next day, you say, why waste time reading Surah Yasin? No, you get blessings for that, right? You get rewards for it, right? I mean, this is what we do, right? There are people, khalas. Listen, experts who would know, right? Like Sahaba, they would say what? Listen, we know that Nabi alayhi salam khalas, we know the sign of death, right? In this family, right? This family, when they are about to die, these are the signs of death would appear, right? But khalas, it doesn't necessarily mean, as you mentioned also, that what you see a person, you think he's gonna die, and next morning you see him, he live long, right? So it doesn't mean that, okay, we waste time. No, this is what we do. Again, inshallah, get rewards for that. What? Talqeen, La ilaha illallah, recite Surah Yasin. That we get rewards for that. So we mentioned the second best option is that person lie on his back and what? Elevate what? The head. Raise the head a little. At least what? The head facing the Qibla. And this is what? This second option, khalas, is probably we won't say a better option, but a good option. Why? Because if you look at the Sunnah, and Nabi alayhi salatu salam, what he taught us, when a person die, what we should do, right? When a person die, we should what? Close his eyes. So if you were to die in that posture, that lying posture, it'd be easier to what? To close the eyes, right? You tie what? When a person dies, right? What happens? The soul, what? The eyes, it follows what? The soul. When the soul what? Comes out of what? The body comes out, the eyes, it what? It follows the soul. That is why normally you'd see what the eyes looking what? Looking up. Like that. Right? So understand all of these things is what? We close the eyes is what? Is for us after Allah, the deceased already finished. That person already died. Right? All these things are for us. Why? When you say for us, you going to attend to the deceased now, and this man looking at you like you get frightened. Right? So khala, that is for us, so we will not understand. A person, yani a Muslim, right, that person is what you call yani mukarram, revered and honored, hayyan wa mayyitan. Not if anything that would cause what a person, the living, to scorn that body, khalas, that is what? Anything that would cause what? The living to scorn that body, right, that disease, the Sharia has what? Put things in place for it not to happen. The whole reason, okay, you need to hasten and bury, right? Understand? If you decide not to bury that person, and it's a good person who died, you think we can withhold that person from what? From what Allah Azza wa Jalla has installed for that person? No, right? If we don't want to bury this man, right? So would that mean what? He's suffering? No, he's not suffering, right? So it's for us to reward, to gain rewards, and for us to what? Khalas, to honor that deceased. So anyhow, you close the eyes. When a person dies, the joy drops. The joy drops, right? So you want to tie the lower jaw to the head like that. But understand, don't tie it with a rope. With respect and honor, right? You don't tie the man with a rope or a grocery twine, right? If you tie with a rope, that is what? That is for animals. Grocery time, what we do, it would make an impression, right? We're not saying the deceased would feel that, no, but that is what? Dishonoring, right? And not revering what? The deceased, right? So you tie with something a little broad, right? So it will not make any marks on the skin, right? And like that, you try to what? To straighten out what? The limbs, right? Because if you straighten it out, it would remain in that posture, and it would be difficult for what? For ghusl, and also it would be a little difficult for any shrouding. Alright? Understand, this is where we're speaking about a dying person, otherwise that person already dead. Right? And you meet him after khalas, you cannot much, right? Now
you could talk a little bit about some of the things that these funeral homes do to the deceased, to the mayat, to make them look nice, I've seen instances where the person who wears that just the dialogue letters and the funeral one, I want to say creeping on Joe to put in the letters kind of thing to make the person look nice and fix up the face and all kind of thing.
Right. Listen, when a person is what? This is what a non-Muslim practice, right? To what? To make the deceased look nice. You see he's smiling, he's shining, right? Khalas, that is all. I'm going to pull here to get a smile, and pull here to get a smile, and shine up the face. You know, he looking happy, you know. And what? We deceive ourselves. Yeah, what this smiling has to do with anything. A person, what he live a life pleasing to Allah Azza wa Jal, that is sufficient, right? So anyhow, to go to that extent, that is not Islamic, right? Even what, cutting the hair and cutting the nails and this and that. When a person dies, shall we speak about this when we do any burial and shrouding, inshallah, right? But one important thing we left out is that, yes, we understand the importance of what? A person what saying La ilaha illallah before he dies. But understand something here. That most of the time that is only possible, right? Yes, with the tawfiq of Allah Azza wa Jal. And when a person normally he's dying. Meaning what? He know he's going to die or he's dying. What about that person what? Instant death. But that man didn't say La ilaha illallah. Man get shoot, bomb, right? Accident, instant, right? But that man didn't say La ilaha illallah. Is that person deprived? No, right? Understand that is a virtue, right? But what is important, that person live a life of La ilaha illallah. That is important, right? That is important. A person what? He live a life of La ilaha illallah. Many people they die without what? Saying La ilaha illallah. Right? But what is important? They live a life of La ilaha illallah until what? Until the end. Right? Listen, if you look at the narration, right, that speaks about all the different narrations that speaks about the demise of Nabi alayhi salatu salam. Akhiru kalamihi, the last set of words of Nabi alayhi salatu salam, from the authentic riwayat and narration, right? You will hear what? As-salah, 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 as-salah. And from the most authentic, you will hear that the last words, and it mentioned in Bukhari, وَهَذَا كَانَ آخِرُ كَلَامِ النَّبِي صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. And the last words of what Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, Allahumma ar-rafiq al-a'la. It wasn't reported that what? Khalas. He uttered La ilaha illallah. And Nabi, what he mentioned, Allahumma ar-rafiq al-a'la. Oh Allah, ar-rafiq al-a'la. Meaning what? Oh Allah, join me with what? Those who what? You are pleased with. Min al-nabiyyin wa siddiqin wa shuhada wa salihin. Ulaika hasuna rafiqa. He wanted to be the companionship of what? These what people. Right? But he, khalas. But what is important, his life was La ilaha illallah. And his heart was La ilaha illallah. Right? So if a person wants that, listen, when I die, right? I want to die with what? La ilaha illallah on my tongue. Yeah, we have to live a life of La ilaha illallah. I want to die when what? I perform in salah. I want to die in what? Sujood. Mashallah, very good. But understand, death would come in a normal day. Right? There's not something special going to happen to you in the morning and you know what? I feel I'm going to dead today. No, it don't happen like that. Just like that. Right? Just how every single day, look at what we do from morning to evening. Death would come on a day just like this. So if we want that our soul be taken on a sujood, you have to be what? You need kasratu sujood. Right? But understand, it only says my life be taken when I'm fasting, when I'm performing salah. That's very good, yes, we're in the obedience of Allah Azza wa Jal. But we don't know when we're going to die. What is important, we live our life of La ilaha illallah, we die like that. Right? So it's not like a person, if he didn't say La ilaha illallah, when he died he was deprived. No, it doesn't mean that person was deprived. We was mentioning something before that and no? 7:25. No. Any other questions if we continue? Right. Hastening, the hastening of the burial, hastening of the janazah. All of these things are what the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu salam. Right. To hasten the janazah, hasten the burial. Nabi alayhi salam, he mentioned asri'u bil janazah. Hasten with the janazah. فَإِن تَقُوا صَالِحَةً. If that person was a righteous person, فَخَيْرٌ تُقَدِّمُونَهَا. Then khalas. That is something. Hasten that and burying that person, perform the janazah and what? Burying that person, because what is awaiting that person's khalas is khair and goodness is better than what we keeping them back for. Sometimes we keep back the person to listen to the bayan. Right? For the janazah, we keep back the body to what? Listen to the bayan. Understand? Understand if we set that time. Khalas, we understand? We tell people come for 2 o'clock. Right? We tell people come for 2 o'clock. So listen, if the body is prepared what? Before 2 o'clock, listen, people come in for 2 o'clock. Right? So even if you have to what? Delay for the janazah because of that, then khalas, no problem. Right? Sometimes, okay, the body might reach earlier, half an hour earlier. So we can't say, you know what? The body reached already, so we don't want to delay. No, khalas, you already told the people what? 2 o'clock. So have the janazah 2 o'clock. But after 2 now, then what? There's no khalas, there should be what? No unnecessary delay. Right? No khalas, unnecessary delay. And this is our topic. I probably need to stress on this topic. Understand what? Sometimes what? Right? We hasten with everything. Right? We hasten with everything. Janazah finish. Right? Understand this is our class. I don't know what. If you want to cut this afterwards, right? But it's important. Right? We have, okay, understand what is the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salam? That place a person dies, that where he is buried. Where a person dies, this is where he is buried. Unless what? He cannot be buried here in that area he died for whatever reason. So many companions of the Prophet ﷺ died outside of Mecca, outside of Medina. Their bodies were not brought into Mecca and Medina. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, her beloved brother Abdul Rahman, the son of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he died a few miles before what? Mecca. And he was what? Brought into what? Mecca. And what? He was what? He was buried. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, after that incident, she mentioned, if I was present, he would be what? Buried where he died. She mentioned, if I was present when he died, then I would ensure that he would be buried in that spot, in that area, and not brought to Mecca. And then she mentioned also, if I were to be present when you die, I would never what? Be present for you. Meaning what? Because of what you did, that you contradict the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salam. Right? Understand, a piece of land doesn't what? Purify a person. What purifies that person is his good deeds and actions. Right? Listen, now we're going to be clear too. Right? And if you have questions, you'd ask. What rewards, how much rewards you going to get if you were buried in Monroe Road? I mean, it's not, this is for us to learn, right? We understand if you die in Mecca and Medina and you're buried in Medina al-Baqi', you're going to get rewards, right? But how much rewards you going to get if you're buried in what? In Monroe Road Cemetery?
But some cemeteries have that facility where you're allowed to do it. So like if you see someone pass away and too late to bury here, and we say, well, don't use Monroe and they have permission to bury in the night and so on. Is it permissible then?
Right, so that's a valid reason, right? So instead of that body spending a whole night to be buried, that's a valid reason, right? But that don't really exist anyhow, right?
But the majority of time that happens, it does happen. The majority of time happens. There's men like muftis and mullahs and things like that. So even if you don't do it, they don't tell people they do that. They don't want to tell us anything and they don't tell you that.
No, understand is the whole thing. Now listen, I understand here, right? So when we have put the emotions aside, I want to bury next to my father. I want to bury next to my mother. You think if you bury next to your mother, what? It's how you're going. You know, I see a long. Understand? Live on the emotions, right? What benefit is there? Right? A person is buried in that place where he dies. Right? Whatever Muslim cemetery is there, khalas, he's buried over there. Simple as that. No earth would what? You know, sometimes we think that, okay, in a cemetery, it's like, okay, these people are going to be neighbors. So you're going to have good neighbors now. No, our neighbors will be in Barzakh. Barzakh is our neighbors. The souls will be there. The soul will be inside the earth. Who want to remain inside the earth world? What kind of life is that? What kind? The souls, khalas, understand? Barzakh is where the souls reside until what? Until Qiyamah. Not only that piece of land we have in what? Sobrati or what? Monroe Road or wherever. No. So it's like, listen, we understand you want to, if you say, khalas, treat your mother good, do something good for your mother, sadaqah, jar, this and that. I want to bury next to my mother. I want to bury next to my grandfather. Like if that he going to save you.
So it doesn't matter where you bury like you say, the souls will be together in no matter where you bury, they will be together.
Understand here? Janazah, burial, shrouding, all these things. Who benefited from that? No, listen. Who benefited from all these things here? The dead or the living? Yeah, this is for us to benefit, right? Understand? When we shroud, when we give ghusl, when we bury, when we follow janazah, it's for us. We getting the rewards for that. So much so, listen. You know what? Just say this person, a righteous person, he died, he lived a good life. But you know what? We take that, somebody what? Take that body, alright, and cut up that body, burn that body, no janazah, no burial. You think he going to feel any pain, or he going to be tortured, or he going to be punished? No. Who going to be held account? The living, the one who did that, right? We cannot afflict any pain, any harm on that deceased, right? So all these arrangements is for us to benefit, right? It's for us to benefit. Allah Azza wa Jalla will ask what? The deceased on the day of judgment. So why were you buried in a non-Muslim cemetery? Why were you cremated? Khalas, that the living will have to answer for that, right? The deceased will have to answer for that. That is not his actions, all right? Okay, that's different, right? That's different. If he asks for that, that's different, all right?
I have two questions.
It's all there, all the time.
So when we go to the cemetery and we taught to give salams to the deceased, do you have any explanations about that? Like, we take a look, the impression we get is that when you go there now, whoever buried there, you give salam and they go come and they go greet you and respond and this kind of thing. Is it the picture we tend to have in our
Right, understand? These are things of what? The unseen, right? But we can start that from here, recorded, right? These are the things of the unseen. Whatever is from the unseen, we don't believe except what comes in Nas, what mentioned in the Quran, right? What mentioned in the Hadith of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, right? But so we don't do what qiyas and analogy. So wait now, if the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that when you pass by the grave, say what? Assalamu alaikum ahl al-qubur, inna insha'Allah bikum lahiqun. So if you can give them salam, that means what? Hey, they could hear. And if they could hear our salam, they could hear everything. Right? And then if you look up, and next step further, we learn that, listen, to give salam is sunnah, and to reply is wajib, so they're probably replying too. Right? But all these things get built on what? There's no khala, no sharia basis. Right? There's no sharia basis. Understand? When we do that, we are reminded of death. Understand what we say? What we say, Inna insha'Allahu lakum lahikun. Soon we would meet you. Right? Soon we would meet you. So what that does, that giving us what? A reminder that we're going to die. So it reminded us, Nabi alayhi salam mentioned, visit the cemetery. فَإِنَّهَا يُذَكِّرُكُمْ بِالْمَوْتِ. It reminds you of what? Death. Right? It reminds you of death. Right? So listen, they hear or not, Wallahu a'lam. Or they hear what? Salam. Right? Allah Azza wa Jal makes it possible that they hear salam. Khalas, wallahu a'lam. But it doesn't mean that you sit down and you have a conversation with them. And Nabi alayhi salatu khalas, we send salawat upon Nabi alayhi salam. Right? We send salawat upon Nabi alayhi salatu salam. The angels take that salawat and convey to what? The Nabi alayhi salatu salam. Right? So it doesn't mean that, okay, listen, we give salam in the grave. So it means that the people over there, they live in. Right? Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in the Quran, إِنَّكَ لَا تُسْمِعُ الْمَوْتَى. إِنَّكَ لَا تُسْمِعُ الْمَوْتَى. You cannot make the deceased hear. إِنَّكَ لَا تُسْمِعُ الْمَوْتَى. Khalas, the deceased will not hear you. Right? But then the Prophet ﷺ told us to give salam. So khalas, this is what we do. So we don't say, okay, because if you could give salam, it means that what they can hear. And if they can hear our salam, it means that they can hear our kalam, our speech also. No.
Second question. We were told that, like when we bury,
Then he asked the Imam if he...
don't take the shovel, the grave and after that the soul is like a punishment kind of thing.
No, nothing like that, right? Except what? You don't beat me, you know what? Yeah, everything you do it what? In a respectable manner. And khalas, in an honorable way, right? So and do like that what? Like what? Like what? You're covering what? The grave, right? So khalas, منها خلقناكم فيها نعيدكم ومنها نخرجكم تارة أخرى. Right? You do that. If a man take what? منها خلقناكم and he pelted khalas. So the soul not going to feel anything, but listen, hey, what you're doing that is what? Right? You don't do that. So it doesn't mean if you do it, you're going to what? Hey, you're going to hurt the deceased. You're going to harm the deceased. No. That is not an action that that has what? You need compassion and love and honor for the deceased, right? So you don't do it like that, right? And if you walk on top of the grave, you gonna mash him, you squeeze him, no, khalas. But this is what? This is considered to be what? Khalas, khilaf al-adab, not having proper manners and etiquettes, right? Like a person, understand? A person, he is muhtaram, he is honored, he is respected, hayyan wa mayyitan. Right? So much of what you're digging a grave and you see some bones, right? What them bones when you're taking a trip? No. But if you shouldn't break it and you should what? Put it aside and cover it back. So if you break, they're gonna feel that pain. No, they won't feel that pain. But khalas, you honor that, you have respect for it. You understand? And you'll be rewarded for that. If I don't let you know the salah time, I have no problem with that. We pray 8 o'clock too, right? If Allah give permission, or you want to keep it for the next days up to all day. Next week inshallah. Right? Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Subhanallah wa bihamdika. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka.